Sometimes we are just given an equation and we are asked for the slope. And this particular example, this first one, is actually in slope-intercept form, which we know is y equals mx plus b. So all we need to do in this case is look for the m, which is the number that'll be multiplying with the x. So it's going to be attached to the x, it's going to be right in front of the x. So in this case, it is 2/5. So we would say that our slope, or our m, is equal to 2/5. Now there can be some tricky ones here if you're in slope-intercept form. Like for example, if you saw y equals x minus 2 instead, we would have to think to ourselves, what number is in front of the x? What is the coefficient on x? What number is attached? When we don't see anything, then we assume that the slope is 1. Because 1 times any number is still that number. Now, unfortunately, all of our equations are not always in slope-intercept form. This is called standard form, where we have a coefficient, which we call a, with x, a coefficient that we call b with our y value, and then an equal sign, and then c. So what we need to do here is get this into slope-intercept form, or solve for y, and we can find what our slope is. So to do that, to isolate y, to get our y by itself, we are going to first subtract the term with the x from both sides. So because this 9 does not have a subtraction sign in front of it, we assume it is a positive. So the opposite of adding 9x is to subtract 9x from both sides. So I'll do that here. And these are not like terms because the 20 does not have an x with it. So my next step is to write 4y is equal to, and then I'm going to just write this negative 9x before the minus 20, just so it's kind of in that slope-intercept form that we talked about on the previous example. I'm going to divide both sides by 4 to get the y alone because the 4 is multiplying with the y. So I have a final answer of negative 9/4 x, and I also need to divide the other number by x as well, which is negative 20. So negative 20 divided by 4 is negative 5. And then I can do what I did on the last example and just identify that slope by being the number that is multiplying with x. So I could write that my slope is negative 9/4. Or negative 9/4. This is also called the rate of change. And this last example is in point slope form, which is y minus y1 is equal to m times the quantity x minus x1. So in this type of equation, we don't have to do any work. We just have to locate the slope. And kind of like slope-intercept form, the slope is going to be multiplied by the x value. And in this case, in point slope form, the x value, the x minus the x value, or the x plus the x value, is actually in parentheses, so it's pretty easy to identify. So 3 would be our slope in this example.